Well, good day and welcome to the second episode of what I'm calling Reverent Cooking. A couple of notes before I begin. One, I want to make it really clear, I don't do all the cooking. In fact, I don't even do most of the cooking. Well, I love to cook. My wife, Melissa, is the primary cook in the house and she enjoys doing that and does a great job. What she often tells people is I do the fancy stuff and she makes the everyday stuff, but she can make some fancy things as well. I enjoy her cooking, but cooking has always been just kind of, I guess, a hobby for me. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this. The other thing is I call it reverent cooking because, one, I'm a reverend, I'm a pastor, but two, I believe that everything we should do for God, and we should do to God's glory. So I'm going to read just a quick passage before I start, and it comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And it's verses 31 through 11:1. It's 4 verses. I promise to keep it short. It goes, "So whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. Do not cause anyone to stumble, whether Jews, Greeks, or the church of God. Even as I try to please everybody in every way, for I am not seeking my own good, but the good of many, so that they may be saved. Follow my example as I follow the example of Christ." I try to live my life in such a way that everything I do leads people to God, and that includes even cooking. I believe that Jesus had a good time while he was here on earth. I mean, you can't have that many people following him around, sitting around a campfire, having parties, doing all that stuff without having fun. And so Jesus enjoyed life, and so do I. With that, today for this second episode, Melanie Colling actually challenged me to make this tortellini soup. So it looked really good, and I think I've got all of the ingredients to make it work. So that's what we're going with today. And so we're going to start off by cooking some sausage. So I just got regular roll sausage. The recipe actually called for Italian sausage, and while I don't have that, I've attempted to make sausage in the past. I didn't do a very good job of it, but well, maybe if I tried it now, I'd do a better job. But Italian sausage is just regular sausage that's got a little extra flavoring. And some of that is just Italian seasoning. And sometimes I'll put a little extra fennel in it. A little bit of crushed red pepper. And also tomato paste. And so we're going to start by cooking down the sausage. And of course, as we go along, if you're watching, if you've got questions or comments, don't hesitate to put those on there. I'll do my best to try and answer them as we go. I know in my Facebook post yesterday, I asked what people wanted, and the overwhelming response was fried chicken. Fried chicken and like a milk gravy, a good old country gravy. Melissa kind of laughed because she makes the fried chicken most of the time. I don't. I can make fried chicken. I have made fried chicken, but Melissa makes it mostly for our household, and so we'll see what happens when we do that. But starting off with just some sausage on medium heat, I'm going to add some of those seasonings to make it more of the Italian sausage, and then we'll come back and we'll start chopping up our vegetables. So part of what this recipe calls for is fresh spinach. It actually calls for fresh tortellini, and I don't have fresh, and I've never made fresh. I always want to learn how to make fresh pasta, but I haven't done so. But I've got this, we do a lot of our shopping at Aldi, and most of their stuff is really good. We love their canned goods. We love most of their cheeses and things like that. We don't buy a lot of meat there. Just chicken breast. We buy the frozen, boneless, skinless chicken breast. But these are their... These are actually mushroom tortellini today. And then, so we got the spinach, we got the tortellini. I've got some chicken broth here, some heavy whipping cream, fresh garlic, fresh onion. It didn't call for it, but I pulled out some fresh grated Parmesan I'm going to throw on top. And we're going to start getting this going. The sausage is already starting to cook a little bit. I'm going to leave this pretty big chunk sausage. Normally when we cook sausage, we kind of finely chop it up. But because this is in a soup, And because I want Melissa to be able to pick it out, she's not a big sausage eater, then I'm going to leave it a little bigger chunks. So that's getting started. Next, I'm going to go ahead and chop up the onion. And this is, like I said yesterday, I don't know why. Sometimes onions make me cry and sometimes they don't. But yesterday I got really lucky. It did not. The sulfur in the onion did not cause me to cry. But this one seems to be a little more potent. So, Melissa reminds me I was wearing glasses yesterday, so that helps. Today I'm not wearing glasses, I'm wearing my contacts. And I don't know if that might make it worse, actually. So we're going to quickly do a decent chop here. This was just a medium onion. We don't want a whole lot of onion. The onion is more just meant to add flavor, not necessarily to be something you notice heavily. So again, I'm using that Santoku knife I showed you guys before. I just kind of made a nice chop here. I like to cut the onion in half, and then I'll go along the onion and then across the onion, and that kind of makes a good chop. So there's that piece. We're going to use, well, I like a lot of garlic. I even said that yesterday with the breakfast. But this is Italian cooking, so I use even more garlic. So I'm going to get, that looks like 5 really good heads or 5 really good cloves of garlic and 1 smaller one. So it's an ear of garlic is the big thing, and the individual ones are cloves. So and I'm going to peel this wheat. Like I said yesterday, Melissa used to sell Pampered Chef, and I know some of you asked about that. We're going to do some research to find out who's selling it around here. I don't think that Melissa will get back into selling it again. Nope. It took a lot of time, she said, and
Lauren Ice.
our friend Lauren Ice is who got her involved in it. They are now in Washington, Indiana, which isn't too far away, and I'm pretty sure she would come down to the Tell City area.
Oh yeah.
She goes a lot of places, so I don't know who else might be selling it, but we'll find out. If Lauren won't come down here, maybe we could just do a Facebook show for her, I guess. I don't know. But we got a garlic press that we got from Pampered Chef. We use it a lot. In fact, we used it so much that we got a second one, and we've almost pretty much worn the first one out. Pam, I've heard if you leave one end on, you won't cry. Never tried it though. I always cut the top off and leave the bottom on, and well, it still almost made me cry today. So maybe I've heard that too, Pam, but I don't know where that comes from, and it didn't really seem to make a difference. I mean, it was a little more mild today, but not like it was yesterday where I
think it's in your head. I think it's the onion.
I think some of it is just how potent the onion is, how old the onion is. You know, that one was growing a little bit. It had a little bit of green top on it. I don't mind using that. But, so, I don't know, if someone knows the trick, I'd be glad to hear it. As I said yesterday, if you want to do more of these, don't hesitate to let me know what else you'd like for me to cook. Fried chicken is coming up. I'm not for sure. I know Grant always wants fried chicken, and so he'll probably want that for supper tonight. I don't know if I'll try and do 2 videos in one day, especially after I've preached this morning. But Amy, can't hear you. Adjust the volume. Thanks. I'm not for sure what the deal is, Amy, because I think everybody else can hear. Is anybody else having problems hearing? Maybe I can get. We got a little microphone that Melissa got for over at the church. We could try that and see if that makes it any better, but maybe your sound volume is off, Amy. Carol, hey Sam, hi all, watching from Huntington. We saw you yesterday and then got right to the kitchen and cooked a great breakfast too. I always, that's part of what I said at the beginning of this. I really love eating with people, and Carol, of course, knows that when we were up in Huntington. We used to eat with them quite a bit. And I love to cook and do those things. So maybe as I try things, as we do some cooking, maybe that will inspire you to do some as well. I said yesterday that we had been watching Alton Brown's and his wife cook in their YouTube channel. But also, I read a couple weeks ago that in the season of isolation, of social distancing, that whatever it is that you do, whatever it is you love to do that and share that with people. You don't have to be great, you don't have to be an expert at it, but we just need to be connected together in this season. And so I'm already preaching and teaching, and I don't feel compelled to do more of that right now, more than what I'm already doing, but I love to cook. And unfortunately, I was just cooking for my family. Not that I don't know if they like it or not, but sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I figured I'd start cooking for you all. So the sausage is getting close to done. I'm going to pull this over and see if I can tilt it down so you can see in there. It's starting to brown a little bit. I've been cooking it on relatively low heat because I don't want it to get burnt in some spots and not done in others. This recipe really should be pretty quick because tortellini doesn't take long to cook, so it's more of just the prep side of things. And so there's Melissa and Leah over there.
Hello.
I'm not for sure what they're working on, but
I'm translating bamboo. Is the volume there?
Volume is better, they are saying. So maybe I'll just need to start using the mic. Maybe that'll help you, Amy. I hope. And if not, Amy, maybe you can see it on YouTube here after a while. I'll post it on there and try and send that to you as well. Tim Allmeyer, I will see you tomorrow morning. Looking forward to Covenant Group. So my sausage is almost done, which means that now it's time to kind of season it. Again, like I said, it called for Italian sausage, and I didn't have any Italian sausage, and I didn't want to make a special trip just for Italian sausage. So I'm going ahead and opening this can of tomato paste. And normally I would just need a little bit of it to season the sausage to make it more like Italian sausage. But because this recipe calls for some tomato paste, I'm going to go ahead and use the whole can. Well, actually, I just thought about this. I probably need to cook down my onions and my garlic first. So since my sausage is almost done, you don't need to completely cook it because it will also cook in the soup. I'm going to go ahead and take it out and set it to the side and cook my onions and my garlic in the little bit of fat that has rendered off from the sausage. So Peter, hey, yeah, we are doing tortellini soup today, so we'll see how it goes. So here's that onion I've chopped up. I'm going to toss it in there now. We're not really wanting to cook the onion down. We're kind of wanting to just sweat it a little bit. I found that when you sweat the onion, you get a little bit more of a mild flavor, and I would prefer that. And I think I've got enough fat in here to make this work. And while that's cooking, I'm going to get our garlic press. This is kind of what I was showing you earlier. I love fresh garlic, and this kind of garlic press is pretty simple. It comes with a nice little brush thing that allows you to get the garlic out once you press it through. You can use it however you want. I know when I used to watch a lot of like Food Network and cooking shows and things like that, a lot of times the chefs would just dice the garlic themselves, and I thought that's pretty cool, but I'm not that talented, so I use the tool. So see it kind of press the garlic through. Alright, like I said, I'm going to end up using 5 cloves because with this being an Italian dish, the garlic flavor can be a little bit more intense, and I like a good garlic flavor. So, anybody have any questions or thoughts, or anybody going to try and make this maybe later or this week? We got plans for our quarantine cooking, I guess you could say. So I've almost got as much garlic in here as onions. So I'm going to go ahead and try and clean this out a little bit. I've got a little plate here that I'm putting my garbage on. Normally I would just throw stuff away, but I kind of don't want to leave you guys hanging there out in Facebook land. So I'll give you that. So our onions and our garlic are sweating nicely. I may need a little bit of, I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil. We use a lot of olive oil, so we got one of these nice little dispensers. My mother-in-law, Melanie, painted this. It's one of the last things she gave us before she passed away, so we use it pretty regularly here in the kitchen. So I put just a little bit in there, and I wish you could smell this. I love the smell of onion and garlic together. I'm going to put a little salt on here. And a little pepper. And there's Grant, who's coming in ready for food. I think he's still not quite awake. So I want to show you guys this again. So again, you just kind of want to get it just where it's starting to brown. And it's at this point in time that I'm going to start adding things in, and the soup is going to start to kind of come together. So first things first is we're going to add our tomato paste. That's a trick I learned from my dad, actually, that with tomato paste cans, how they kind of stick in there. If you cut off both ends, then it comes out a lot easier. I'm actually going to get our nice little thin spatula to get the rest of it. There's that. And then I'm just going to use some regular Italian, just any Italian seasoning. The thing about cooking is an art, baking is a science. So with cooking, you can kind of just go by what you like and what you don't like, how you like things to go. With baking, it needs to be far more precise. And I'm going to, because this is supposed to be like Italian sausage, I'm going to put a little bit of crushed red pepper in. Not a lot, because some people don't like a lot of heat. There we go. But I do. I like spicy food. I like, gotta watch that. Sorry about that, guys. Melissa got this really neat thing that kind of clamps onto our countertop that is holding my phone. I'm not for sure where she got it from, but she got it from Walmart, she said. It's got a really hard kind of snaky neck to it, and so it kind of holds its shape, and then it's got a pivot at the top that allows you to kind of do some more. So I've tossed my sausage back in, and see, now it kind of makes it look a little bit more like an Italian sausage that has that red tint. Now the other ingredients, the biggest ingredients that are left is the chicken broth, the tortellini, the spinach, and then at the very end we'll add cream. The thing, a lot of times when I'm cooking with spinach, I'll want to wilt it some. But because this is a soup, the chicken broth will do most of that for me. And so I'll add it here in just a little bit. I'm kind of letting everything cook together a little bit. I think I want a little bit more Italian seasoning. Yeah. And a little more salt. I tend to undersalt things. I don't use as much salt. I use a whole lot more pepper than I do salt. But and cracked pepper and cracked salt, I think that they just have a different flavor. We use a lot of regular, like table salt as well. But I don't know, for you guys, as Leah just said, I'm being a little more fancy. So this is kind of all blended together. So now it's time to add our chicken broth. This is nothing fancy. This is just Kroger brand chicken broth. Like I said, we do most of our shopping at Aldi. We buy a lot there. And then what we don't buy there, we'll buy like at Ruler or Kroger. We like to go to places like Fresh Time and Meijer if we're going to get more fancy things, because they just won't have it at the smaller stores. Although I am surprised, if you keep your eyes open, a lot of times Aldi will have things in different seasons. They may not have it all the time. You can get it there. I'm going to need more chicken broth than that. So we're going to get another container out. We need to put chicken broth on our shopping list. So I know my friend Peter was on here. I don't know if he's still watching or not. And every morning he's been doing this Bible study. It's really early for me because he's an hour ahead of me. But he asks, "How are you doing?" And what I think it's a question: how are you doing, and what's bringing you joy? So Steve says he's getting hungry. Well, Steve, I know you guys aren't too far away. It's probably like a 2-hour drive, but if you come down, you can probably have some. So chicken broth is in. It's starting to look more like a soup. Now you can kind of see all those herbs and spices and the onion and garlic and the sausage kind of floating in there. I'm going to add the spinach because I want it to start to cook down. I'm going to add a bunch of spinach. And went over the back. We use a lot of spinach in breakfast. Melissa likes spinach and mushrooms and eggs together. We'll put spinach in pastas. And you know what? We'll just use the rest of it. There we go. And our Alfredo. While it has a flavor that can be somewhat strong at times, it's just a good way to add more green into your diet by adding, especially fresh spinach. Canned spinach tends to get a lot stronger. You know, I remember as a kid, eating Popeye's spinach. And of course, canned spinach, I always want to put some vinegar on it, some white vinegar on it. But fresh spinach is just, it's a different flavor altogether.
Fresh spinach is good.
That was Madison just saying fresh spinach is good. So we're at the stage now where we need to let the spinach cook down. So I'm going to put a lid on it. I'm going to turn my heat up to about medium high. And I'll just kind of turn this camera up while it's doing that and just kind of see how you guys are doing. You know, I do this partially because I enjoy cooking and I want to just kind of show you how I do things. Like I said, cooking is more of an art than a science. But also, I kind of want to hear from you all. He says he'd like to, but he's quarantined right now. Rain check. Pam, you guys are welcome to come down anytime. Of course, I know you're getting ready for camps this summer, but give us a holler. It's not too far down the road. I mean, and where you guys live and where we live, we're kind of both in the middle of nowhere. Although you guys are closer to society than we are, but that's okay. But yeah, I kind of just, this is a way of reaching out and letting you guys know a little bit about me and my family and how we do things and why we do things. I know Vicky Christopher said it was kind of neat to watch yesterday and just kind of see me for me and not necessarily Pastor Sam. I've said for most of my ministry that yes, I am a preacher, yes, I'm a pastor, but I'm just another person. I do a lot of the same things you all do, and I want to enjoy life. And for the most part, while I appreciate and the respect I get because I'm a pastor, in many ways, I almost prefer people see me just as another person who just has a different job. We're all called to follow God, and we all do so in different ways. My call is through ordained ministry, and maybe through cooking. I don't know. We'll see how this goes long term. Maybe it'll last, maybe it won't. But how is it you guys are experiencing God in this season? Anybody have a neat story to share? You can say hi to Melissa. Oh, she tried to hide. There's Leah back at the sink.
Hello.
Well, so I guess we'll just keep moving forward then. Hopefully somebody will share something along the way. The last stage here is once the spinach is starting to pretty much cook through, everything will happen really quick. One of the things I've learned about fresh pasta like this is it cooks really quickly. This right here, it says to cook for 8 minutes. Like a standard dried pasta, a packaged pasta, 8 minutes is the minimum you want to cook it. And I found that a lot of times the filled pastas like ravioli and those kind of things, they actually cook faster than what the package says. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just because it's filled and so that it doesn't dry out as much as like a spaghetti or a linguine does. This is starting to come to a boil. Not quite there yet. And we are kind of at that stage where it's time to start cleaning up. Melissa did most of the dishes, and she wanted the dishes done before I got started today, so we tried to clean up a little bit better. I know you guys commented about how lucky I am that Melissa does the dishes. She likes a clean kitchen. So this is starting to boil, and therefore we're slowly getting there. The last thing I'll do then is go ahead and cut open our tortellinis. I'm wondering how many of you guys went to church today. And by going to church, I mean how many of you watched church online? And if you did you watch one service? Did you watch a couple of services? I know in this season it's easy. It's kind of nice that you have everyone doing services online and Facebook Live and through Zoom and things like that. So you actually have the ability to kind of go visit other churches where you wouldn't normally have that ability to do so. So, anybody go to a good service today? Hey, Vicky's back. Thank you. Yeah, it is kind of nice to connect with you all. Vicky's one of our long distance members, I like to say. Are you guys still spending any time in Alaska? Pam, you went to 3 services today? Wow, you got me beat. I did a service on Facebook and through Zoom, and then we did Sunday school, and that's why I got started about 11:30. But our spinach is starting to wilt. I'm going to take this and kind of show you guys that. See if I can get it to stay that way so you can see it. You guys are gonna go. You guys go back to Alaska in the summer. Okay. So you can see how the spinach is starting to wilt. You want it to kind of get to almost done there before we toss in our pasta, and then we'll start to get things ready for the final prep. Cream. I got out some parsley. I thought I would top with some parsley and that Parmesan cheese I was telling you guys about earlier. So. All right, so I think we're at that stage. We're going to go ahead and toss in our tortellinis. The sausage is kind of finishing up cooking while the spinach is cooking, and so I think everything will be about ready. And I hope that Melanie Colling sees this later and she can rate me, I guess. See how we did. So there's our tortellinis. I put them in there, and my clock here says it's 12:08, so we'll let it cook for 8 minutes. We'll wait till about 12:16 and see what it says. Yeah, well, pasta doesn't whisper to you, no, but there's a sense in which you can get a sense of whether it's ready. That everyone has their own level of doneness. Of course, they say that like traditional Italians, they want their pasta al dente with a little bit of crunch. I like a very light al dente, but I like most of our family, they prefer no crunch whatsoever.
But not soft.
So Spike is going, oh, Spike leaves here in just a couple of days. Oh, wow. I hope Spike is doing well. I've still got him on my list of people I pray for with his treatments and everything. But so yeah, this is going. The last thing is, like I said, we're going to top with the Parmesan and with some parsley. And right at the very end, we'll add the cream. You don't want to put the cream in for very long because you don't want it to curdle. But it's kind of that nice finishing touch. So, anybody got some things they're planning on doing today with this cold, rainy day? You're going to stay inside, watch movies, or Netflix? I mean, we've been doing that kind of for a couple weeks. We've actually done most of our puzzles. We don't have any new puzzles to do. We could go back through and I guess do our old puzzles. Maybe play some board games, but...
Yeah, Mom.
So, and then I just found a lone little garlic clove. I thought I got all of them, but I guess I didn't. So, pasta's boiling. Like I said at the beginning, I hope to add a little bit of my faith into this cooking journey. I really do believe what Scripture says, that everything we do for the glory of God. And so, whether you're cooking, whether you're spending time with family, whether you're even going to Walmart, we can do that for God's glory simply by being a non-anxious presence in a season like this, where we can show people kindness. I saw someone put out on one of their the billboards that a smile is a hug from a distance. You know, it never hurts to smile at people. It never hurts to show them that kindness and that love. So, you guys have sun. It is cloudy and rainy. It has been raining for almost 24 hours straight, Pam, down here on the river. So I don't know, maybe you guys got a better vantage point there at Rivervale. I want to stir this just a little bit. That's looking really good. But I love Italian food. I love pasta. In fact, pasta has almost always been one of my downfalls, if you can't tell.
You're so funny, Dad.
We've got about 4 more minutes, but as you can tell, the pasta is already starting to kind of plump up and even split in places. So I may need to turn this down a little bit. and kind of let it do a slow cook. I hope that you have enjoyed this. I don't really have a whole lot of new things to say right now. We're just kind of finishing up this tortellini soup, and here in about 5 minutes we're going to be eating. So I have a bunch of 1,000-piece puzzles that you can have and share with others. Carolyn Payline. Well, if
Carolyn dropped them off on the front porch.
if you want to either swing by and grab them, or if you want to just lay them out, wouldn't want to put them outside right now while it's raining, but you can either drop by or let us know and we'll come pick them up, because kids have been enjoying puzzles. So.
I'm an old lady over.
Leah, I'm gonna let that one go. If she wants to tell you what she said, she can put it in the comments later, I guess. So our soup is almost done. We've got about 3 more minutes, and we'll be finishing this up. Melissa, I'm sorry, with it boiling, the sausage has kind of gotten smaller.
Alright, I'll eat it.
So we're just kind of finishing up this soup. Like I said, one of my next episodes, probably my next episode, will be the fried chicken one, because everybody keeps asking for it. If you've got a recipe that you'd like for me to try, don't hesitate to let me know. Vicky, I put in the cream as soon as I turn off the stove, because I really don't want that to curdle. I just kind of want it to kind of flavor and thicken the whole soup right at the very end. So I've got about a minute longer, and I'll put the cream in, and we'll turn off the soup, and we'll start putting it in bowls, and we'll be eating here. So I'll show you guys the finished product. And like I said, I'll be putting this on Facebook or on YouTube later, and so don't hesitate to let me know what you'd like to see cooked. It can be something challenging, or it can be something simple. I've gotten quite a few requests for my cookies, so I may do that. I don't know that I will give the recipe out, but I might do cookies as well. But I also wouldn't mind hearing from you all what you'd love to see. We can do purely just cooking dishes. We can do cooking sides. We can do desserts. Although Melissa does most of the baking in our household, so if you're wanting more baked goods or things like that, we'll have to work on her and convince her. She's not really an upfront person. She doesn't like to be on camera a lot. That's why I think she likes the scrapbook. She takes all the pictures and kind of puts that out there. So, well, here we are. We're at it's been 7 minutes. So in this last minute, we're going to add our cream and just kind of do that last bit of thickening. And then we're going to turn it off, and I'm going to serve this so you guys can see it. So we're going to pour in about half of this cream. The original recipe called for a cup of cream, and these smaller containers have 2 cups. So you that just means about half of this container. And that kind of gave it a nice, went from a red color to an orange color. And so I'm going to kind of take a big spoonful of this. And like I said, I'm going to top this with some of this shredded Parmesan cheese and a little bit of parsley, and then we're going to be eating. So just some shredded parsley. Or some shredded Parmesan, and here's the parsley on top. So, Melanie Coling, there is my tortellini soup. I hope that you guys have a great afternoon. We'll see what's next. Like I said, it'll probably be the fried chicken, but I hope that you have a good lunch and a good afternoon, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.